Welcome back to Games Revealed. I'm James Nelson the Brink, and today I want to go over ranking some Half-Life and Portal games. So it looks like I am coming up next on Monday to get my Steam Deck email, I think, according to the calculators. We'll see how accurate they are when those come. But in the meantime, I gotta, do something while I wait for that email. And so I figured, hey, I love Half-Life games. I like ranking things. Let's do a tier-based system and rank this, and then I'm gonna ask you at the end to do the same. So before we get into it, make sure to like, subscribe, bash that bell with your crowbar. Now we can get into one of my favorite things, and that's Half-Life. It's probably the only thing I'm gonna play on the Steam Deck, probably, maybe, potentially. No, but really, this is let's just do this. They're all gonna go in the S tier. No, I'm kidding. There's gonna be a lot of these are going to go into the A and S tiers. I will have to say, I'm going to try to make the bar a little different so that we're going to get some into the B's and C's. There might be one or two that gets into the D's. I actually haven't played one of these, even though I do own it. And you can probably guess which one it is. It's Half-Life, whatever the one is called for PS2. So I do own it though. It's just when I bought it, my PS2 crapped out. This is like a couple years ago, and I just haven't gotten around to playing it yet. I'm probably going to emulate it on my Steam Deck, to be honest. It's not a great one from what I hear, but I do want to play the co-op on that. That's like the one last piece of Half-Life puzzle that I have not played. So this is really difficult. Half-Life 2, Half-Life Alyx, and Half-Life 1 are my favorite by far. Black Mesa and Half-Life 1 are very similar to me in a lot of ways, in the sense of like they still have the core aspects of the game of Half-Life 1. Obviously Half-Life 1 is the core game, original game, but Black Mesa does such a good job of remaking it. And I know I feel like that's a little controversial in the Half-Life sphere, the community and all that, but like I really do think the Black Mesa game is potentially better than the original. If it's not just for the replayability, I do feel like the graphic, like it just looks really beautiful, and the Zen level, I love it. Personal opinion, of course, on that. I think of course, any of this stuff's personal opinion. So let's go with Half-Life 2. This one's obviously going to go to the S tier. Just everything about it, even to this day, I think it holds up. I really love playing through every part of this game. I love. The only section that gets a little repetitive for me personally is when you first get to the base with Eli Vance, where there's a lot of talking, but you can still at least screw around in the world. And that's actually what I kind of like about Half-Life, is that you can just screw around, mess around in the world while things and people are talking. It at least makes some of those cutscenes, but not really cutscenes, but like filling in the story more enjoyable as opposed to other games. And Half-Life 2 does just a fantastic job. Definitely S tier. So next up is Half-Life Alyx. I'm not going to do that. Let's slow our roll a little bit. We're gonna start from the original stuff, and then we'll get into Portal. The reason I put Portal in here is because out of the Valve world of what they make, like the core studio of Valve, Half-Life and Portal games are the main games that I care about, single player games, that is. Left 4 Dead kind of bridges that with the single player multiplayer co-op. It is done by Turtle Rock, so I don't know if I fully convinced that is a Valve game. It is a Valve game, but it's just a different studio. So if it was Left 4 Dead 2 was in here, it'd be S tier, because I've played hundreds of hours of that game and I think it's amazing. Okay, let's go to Half-Life 1 here. I am actually going to put Half-Life 1. This is a hard one because I almost want to put it into the A tier now. It would have been S tier for the longest time, but because of Black Mesa, I'd actually rather play Black Mesa than the S tier, or than Half-Life 1. We're going to do this. I think we're going to do this because these are just so classic in just what they are. I can still go back and play Half-Life 1 all day long. I love that game. I think it still holds up with the type of game and clarity, even with the textures being kind of a little blurry. It still holds up pretty well. There's a lot of games like Fear that do not Half-Life does, in my opinion, and it's older, much older than Fear. Okay, so next up in the line of releases, we got Opposing Force, I believe, is the next one on this list. I'm not going to count the PS2 one. We'll do that at the end of the Half-Life 1 series kind of stuff, but Opposing Force is actually really good. And I think there's some people that actually like it more than the original Half-Life 1. This is one of those, I've seen it as controversial. Me personally, I really do like it, but I don't go back and play it all the time. So in the Half-Life world of things, I might move to this later, but I'm going to put it in the B tier. It is really fun. I really like it. It's Gearbox made, so it's the same people that make Borderlands and stuff like that. This is really good. That being said, Blue Shift, definitely going to put it in the C tier. It's just not that great, to be honest. It doesn't hold anything really new. Even the guns, everything about it just doesn't feel good enough. It's good enough as a Half-Life. Like if we were rating this out of all the other games I've ever played, I might actually put this into the B tier. But in the Half-Life sphere, with what's on this board, it's going to go into the C tier for right now, because it's just, like I said, it's not one I like to go back to very often. I still really much enjoy playing it and enjoy the Fat Barney. It's fun. Otis, that is. It's just, yeah, it's C tier. It's a fun, for me. I always like more of things, and I enjoy these. I know some people just don't like the expansions. So, okay, last one is this one. I have not played it. I've heard not great things about it, and I've played a little bit on the PS2, but not enough, and the controls were just not great. I'm gonna really, and I think this is a popular enough opinion. It is more or less D or C rank on this. It's got, I believe, the original Half-Life playthrough, and then you also get to play as these two research scientist women, which I will get to one of these days. So not fair enough, because I haven't played the part I haven't, but on the PS2, like the Half-Life PS2 experience, So next up is, we already did Half-Life 2. We'll do Portal a little after we do the Half-Life. So we'll do Portals later. How's that sound? So next up would be, now that I think about it, let's see. I've got Half-Life Source. This, I believe, would be the next thing. This really, honestly, a lot of people don't like it. I love that they updated some of the textures and the reflections, but it is very buggy. I'm going to put it at C tier. I actually have, like, my last playthrough of Half-Life 1 was with the Source. I didn't have issues. I know a lot of people hate it. The reflections are kind of weird, but they're kind of fun. I kind of have fun in it. But yeah, to be honest, it's probably more C and B tier. And it really is, it's not much different than the original Half-Life, just with some visual upgrades that didn't do quite well. Okay, Half-Life 2 episode 1 right here. Now, I always get episode 1 and 2 mixed up. I really liked both these episodes. I actually feel like Half-Life 2 episode 2 is my favorite out of the two, if I remember correct. But I am going to slap this here, and I'm going to slap this here. Might be an unpopular opinion, but I feel like the episode 2 more. And to be honest, and once again, they were going to go with more episodic adventures of Half-Life, and they just didn't do as well. And that's why I believe, for the most part, pulled the plug on those. And I think also the team just kind of lost interest. And that's why we never got an episode 3. And same thing with, DLCs and expansion packs, I feel like get judged too harshly by game critics sometimes, considering it's just meant to be a little bit more taste, or maybe a different spin on the game, right? With a different adventurer, like with Opposing Force and Blue Shift. It really is, it's interesting how they're respectively really good games. It's just, if they had to stand alone, if, like, let's say Half-Life episode 1 or 2 released on its own without Half-Life 2 ever coming out, obviously I think like it's just not as good as Half-Life 2. So next up, Half-Life Lost Coast. This is essentially a tech demo I can't remember if it cost money or not. I thought it was a free release, but they were testing out their new lighting systems, and it was, to be honest, I liked the tech demo. At the time, I was super excited. I really liked what it gave, and like the visuals and all that. Was the game itself fun? It was, yeah, it was fun enough. It was just more Half-Life, and so I'm definitely going to slap it here on the B tier, where I really enjoyed the visual side of it, and that they gave us more, and it felt like a coastal area. It was fun, but it was rehashed. But for the price and everything, it was great. Okay, so we're getting up into this. Half-Life Alyx and Black Mesa came out in a very similar amount of time. I will say Half-Life Alyx S tier. Black Mesa A tier. Just because this has a lot more. The Half-Life, I'm going to judge this partially on Half-Life just having such a big impact on the gaming industry and myself and just me growing up, that Half-Life 1 will get S tier flat out, but I will go back to Black Mesa more than I would the original one to play the original Half-Life experience. It's just Black Mesa is not original. It's a remake. They did an amazing job, and Zen is just amazing. So, okay, let's get into Portals. This is going to be an unpopular opinion. Portal 1 is in the B tier for me. Portal 2 is in the S tier. I just think Portal 2 was funnier. I think Wheatley was, I think that's his name. Essentially, it was just so funny. I loved it. I loved the humor, the different aspects of it. It was a longer adventure. I didn't think it felt too redundant, but it felt fresh at times. Where Portal, you just kept on doing, obviously you break out at one point, but it felt very samey throughout the whole thing. It was still really fun. I really liked it. This is a hard one because I know like a lot of people would put this as S. For me, I just played it through recently and I really liked it, but we're in the Half-Life world. If this was in the whole world, it'd be probably an A tier, but we're going to put it at a B tier in respective to these games. Now, it is like, I'm sure people would have expected this to be all in the S tier or S and A. And to be honest, like I said, if it was in a different frame with a bunch of other games attached to this, most of these probably would have ended up in S and A, with the exception of the PlayStation 2 Half-Life, and then also the Half-Life Source being lower. And once again, I enjoyed Half-Life Source enough. That's why it's in the C. Blue Shift, enjoyed it enough. I'd play all these games again, and I'm gonna play all these games. So this is definitely not a ranking of should you play it or should you not. But out of all of these, I really do think you need to play Half-Life 2, Half-Life 1, Half-Life Alyx, and Portal 2. I love the Half-Life Alyx. To be honest, when it came out, when I played through, when I finished it, it felt I had so many similar feelings to when I finished Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2. I loved this game. So really, this is such a hard list to do because some of these I want to bump up into the S and A, but to be fair with myself, like this seems like more fair of a list. And really, to be honest, like these are amazing games. And so with that being said, let me stop droning on. This is my list. Let me know in the comments below what you think. What would you swap? Maybe you would change some of this. And then also, if you go and peek in the description, go hunt it down. You'll be able to hunt down the free... No, we're not going to get into that. I will play that one day on a stream. But you'll be able to hunt down the link to this tier maker list, and you can do it yourself. And I will actually request that you go and do it yourself and post either in the comments a link to what you finished, or in the Discord server that we have that's also in the description, what your results are. I'm curious to see what the community's like. I'm sure some of you guys are going to probably go and just do a D tier on all this, because I know there's people that don't like Half-Life, but you know what? I love you anyways. So let's keep on going and make sure to check this out. I want to know what you guys think. I really do. So thank you guys for watching. Check out my other videos right after this, and then I'll catch you guys later. Peace out. Later.